So I write about what happens inside the U.S. Supreme Court, which has always been a very secretive place. And I recently discovered that the Supreme Court just raised those walls even higher. In November of 2024, the Chief Justice asked staff to sign NDAs, or non-disclosure agreements. Picture the court like 9 separate law firms. Every justice has 4 clerks. These are mostly young lawyers who come to the court for a year. The justices are pretty dependent on them on the whole. And the justices also have support staff. And there is a small army that helps the whole place run, helps opinions get out the door. Collectively, those people understand a lot of how power is really exercised at the Supreme Court. There was always kind of this informal tradition, this norm, this vow of saying that people who worked at the court wouldn't disclose what they saw. Now they are signing non-disclosure agreements, promising that they will not tell anybody what they see. This shift, which the Chief Justice made right after President Trump was brought back to office by voters, comes in the wake of some very unusual disclosures about the court. The Dobbs leak in 2022, in which Politico obtained and published a draft opinion that the justices hadn't intended to make public until weeks later. But also, just weeks before the Chief Justice introduced these NDAs, Adam Liptak and I published a behind-the-scenes portrait of how the justices awarded President Trump such broad immunity from prosecution. That story included things like the Chief Justice's confidential opening memo to the other members of the court, and those things are not supposed to get out. When we shared this development of these NDAs with Supreme Court experts, what they said is it's clear to the justices that they can no longer rely on trust alone. We reached out to the court for comment. They declined, and they also declined to answer the question of whether the justices signed the NDAs. Many members of the judiciary, including, I think, a lot of the justices, believe strongly that the institution needs confidentiality to function, that they want to trust each other, that it gives them more room to be independent, to change their minds. But there's a real debate here, particularly now. The court's reputation has fallen in recent years, and also the justices are making a lot of decisions on the emergency docket, awarding President Trump a lot of power without even really explaining those decisions. So more and more we're hearing people say, it is time to understand this institution better.